Okay, so we need to talk about this really important Taboo Wednesday subject, which is about feeling uncomfortable just saying how good you are. And it's such a common thing, but it's a Taboo Wednesday subject because we don't want to talk about it. We don't really want to talk about it to even the people that we know are not going to judge us because it still feels like we're being judged. So how comfortable are you saying how good you are? Because one of the things a lot of people grow up with is you can't blow your own trumpet. You shouldn't be big-headed. You mustn't be arrogant. And whatever the phrase happens to be. So many people grow up with that it's almost a sin to actually say that you're good at something. It's arrogant. It's big-headed. It's tall poppy syndrome. There's different phrases for it around the world. Can't remember all of them, but it's a big difference between people who are successful and people who are not. Not because you're big-headed, not because you are telling lies. It's not because you're faking it till you make it. It's just that if you're really good at what you do, or even just good at what you do, you need to be able to tell people that easily, confidently. And what we're going to quickly explore is what happens and why, and what you need to do about it. So some people, annoyingly, find it quite easy to tell people what their value is, how good they are. And these people, and the ones I'm talking about, are the ones who just know it. They are just happy to say it. They don't worry about it. They don't worry about what people think about them saying it because they're speaking the truth. And this is the really important thing. You're speaking the truth about your abilities. You're not overhyping it. You're not underselling it. You're not being bashful. You're not being arrogant. You're just speaking the truth. And I work with so many people who have really excellent track records and testimonials. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're starting out or whether you've been in what you're doing for a very long time, because I work with people at both ends of the spectrum and obviously everybody in the middle. But wherever your level is, and you're saying, I can do that. Yeah, that is my level. I'm good. You could be starting out. You're at level 1, but you should be able to confidently say, yeah, I'm starting out. I'm level 1. I can do this. When you get to level 2, I can do level 2 work, whatever that happens to be. If you're level 20, I'm at level 20. I am that good. I've put the years in. I've put the study in. I'm naturally talented and I work on those talents. Whatever the combination of talent and hard work, it's just about speaking the truth. So some people find that easy to do. And when we hear that, if we've been conditioned to think that's arrogant or big-headed, although we might admire them, we often feel uncomfortable. Oh, I couldn't do that. Or perhaps even to the extent that you think it's wrong to do that because that's been your cultural upbringing, it's been your training, that's been your conditioning, or whatever word you want to use. So some people are really good at it, but many don't have the confidence to do that, or they feel embarrassed. Because, as I said, there's a lot of reasons why it happens, control mechanisms. Perhaps you were told by someone at school, a teacher or something, oh, you're big-headed. Or perhaps you grew up with people who bullied you for being clever. There's so many different ways it happens. Parents, obviously, try not, they may be proud of you, but so many people I've worked with that their parents never told that they were proud of them. And they, they get told off or feel embarrassed if their child says they're good at something. So there's all sorts of stuff that happens, and it's easier to sort out, but it takes away the confidence, and people want more confidence. Confidence is one of the primary things that people want to have. But what is confidence? Confidence is a feeling of certainty and self-worth. That's what I think it is. It's two things. It's two core things. A feeling of certainty and a feeling of self-worth. So if you have the confidence to put your hand up, and I remember learning how to do this because I certainly used to hold back from asking for help because I didn't want to look like I didn't know what I was doing. And that's a different topic, but it's related to the same thing. It's all about who you should be and do you have an ego, or, it's all to do with self-esteem ultimately. But I used to hold back from asking for help because I thought I should be the one who knew everything. And obviously I didn't know everything, because I remember a situation when I was asked by one of my first bosses, how can I help you? And I said, no, I do it on my own. And you could see her go, okay. And it took me about 3-4 weeks before I came back, a little bit shamefaced, and went, help. Because I was out of my depth, because I was brand new into the role. So there's all sorts of reasons why it happens, but we don't have the confidence to say, I'm good at that. Now, it also works this way round, surprisingly. The confidence to put your hand up and say, I have no idea how to do that. I'm new, I'm a beginner. And that's confidence too. So confidence is a very, very important thing. And then when we don't feel like we have it, what we do is we're worried about our own self-worth. Am I valuable here? And if you're told you're not allowed to show your value, well, you can't be yourself. You can't live by your own pride in yourself. And therefore, you can't be yourself. You don't feel comfortable. So it has lots of ramifications, this does, to just truly believing in yourself. So if you don't have the confidence to put your hand up and say, I'm really good at this, or even the confidence to put your hand up and say, I have no idea what I'm doing on this. Can you show me, please? Because guess what? If you have the ability to do that, boy, do you learn quickly, because people say, yeah, sure. And they teach you stuff and your results get bigger. But when we hold back from being confident in our abilities, good or not so good, it stops us telling people where we really are, what we're capable of, and it stops people being able to confidently judge us to say, you're the person I need. Or maybe not. They need someone at a different level, different skills, but to say, yeah, hallelujah, you're the person I need. So people want people to confidently say, I'm good at this. So if you can't do it, they can't select you. They can't hire you. They can't employ you. So confidence is really important, because it's about, in this situation, I have value. That's what gives you the feeling of confidence. So many people don't, for all the sorts of reasons I was talking about, or they feel embarrassed because I'm not meant to say it. That's their conditioning. And this is often linked to imposter syndrome, or versions of imposter syndrome, where imposter syndrome, we use the phrase because people understand it, but when we work with our clients, it's really about, are you good enough? Good enough for whom? Good enough for what? What's the standard you're meant to be hitting? And if you are trying always to be good enough, and many people don't really know what they're trying to achieve to be good enough, what the standard is, then they're never good enough to put their hand up and say, I'm good at this because I'm an imposter. I should be better at this. And I've worked with so many people at all levels, C-suite, founders, CEOs, business owners. When the door's shut and they confess, they say, I feel like an imposter. And again, that all often comes back from childhood. So it's often linked to imposter syndromes and things similar to that. But this is the one that often nails it on the head. So if it's not imposter syndrome, it's the fear of being called arrogant. It's the fear of being called arrogant or big-headed or whatever that is the problem. Because nobody wants to be classed, well, very few people, because some people do, but they're the rare ones, but they're the ones that people don't want to be associated with, which is those arrogant people who just say, I'm amazing, I'm the best, I'm better than you, you're rubbish. Those sort of people who behave in that way. And I say behave in that way because actually I think real arrogance is actually rare. It's actually rare. It's more ignorance in some respects, because what I've discovered over the years is that there's very few what I call truly arrogant people, but there's a lot more people who behave in what we would call an arrogant way. They put people down. They need to be center of attention. They need to claim the limelight. They need to be. I've been in situations where people need to be almost like holding court in front of others. And then the biggest reason is not that they're arrogant. It's actually they have imposter syndrome, or they don't believe in themselves. So their way of dealing with that is to become an uber big version of themselves, almost like a caricature of an arrogant person who needs to push other people down and be dominant. So actually, they're not really arrogant. The behavior looks arrogant, and we go, oh, that's horrible behavior. That's not very pleasant behavior. But it's because they're actually got a bit of a self-esteem issue. But the way they try and deal with it comes out in an arrogant, or what we say is an arrogant behavior. So there's far more of that happening than what I would say is someone who's truly arrogant. But we don't want to be classed like this. We don't want to be thought of like this. If your conditioning has made you, people have said you can't be like this, the fear of being called arrogant is so big that we do the opposite. So the vast majority of the people with a fear of being arrogant, they're nowhere near arrogant. They're the complete opposite. But the thought of being called it, or being judged, or thought being headed, scares them so much. It's so repugnant to them that they do anything to make sure they don't get called arrogant. So the two biggest reasons are imposter syndrome, not truly believing in your true value, knowing your true value and being able to say it, or the fear of being called arrogant, the fear of being called big-headed. And those problems are all in here. Because I work with so many people, when they tell me they've got imposter syndrome, or they've got this fear of being called arrogant, they often have really good, tangible results. They've been tested. They work really hard, sometimes too much. They become perfectionists, and they work really hard to become good at what they do. Now, some people don't do anything because they're so scared of doing anything, they underperform. But some people produce amazing results, and they're tested, and they work really hard. And that's because they're so scared of making a mistake or being found out, that what they do is they can't say how good they are, or won't say how good they are, even though they've got a brilliant track record and everybody else is going, this person's amazing. So there are many reasons why we don't say our true value. These are the most common ones. But it's actually really easy to fix, because it's just a process of thinking that gets in the way, trying to make sure that you don't get judged or criticized, or you don't put yourself in a position where you're going to get found out. So this is the most common thing, arrogance problem or imposter syndrome problem. Everyone's slightly different in the way they do it, but the process is the same. You're trying to help yourself from being judged and criticized normally. So if you're fed up with that, you actually know you're good, and you would like the confidence to say, I'm good at this. Because there's a big difference between confidence and arrogance. There's actually a test for it. It's very simple. An arrogant person will say something, and you find out whether they're arrogant or confident by saying, prove it. And the person who's the pseudo-arrogant person can't prove it. They're all mouth. The person who is confident can say, yeah, look at my track record, or let me demonstrate for you. Very simple. So if you're underselling yourself, and you know that you're capable, but you just got this thing in the back of your head that won't let you say it to anybody, then give us a call, because this is what the Alpha program's for. It's not to make you one of those arrogant people, because like I said, the vast majority, I'll say 80% who are scared of being called arrogant, they're so far the other way that they never become arrogant. They never become arrogant. They just, I can do that. I can prove it. Yeah, I'm worth it. I'm good at this. That's not arrogance. That's just confidence, because you can prove it. Simple as that. You know your value, and you can show people. If you would like that, that's what we do. Getting rid of this stuff, helping people perform, which then allows their careers or their companies to perform, is what we do. So, book in a call. Just have a chat. You can either email us and ask to talk to us, or you can use that link, and there's probably a link around you can do. Book in a call. Let's have a conversation. Because I've never met someone who's scared of being called arrogant turn into an arrogant person. After we've worked with them, it's never happened. Because usually they're just generally nice people who have too much fear. And once they've sorted it out, they just carry on generally being nice people with great skills who just have the confidence to get on with it and be well rewarded and recognized for the skills they do have. So hopefully I'll speak to you soon. Hope this has been useful to you. And if you've got this problem, let's get it fixed. It takes about 4 weeks. That's about it. About 4 weeks. Okay, thanks for your time. Hope this has been useful. And, perhaps I'll speak to you soon.